This looks like a pretty... I actually, by the way, guys, I thought Naka was white here. I didn't realize he was black because this guy is he's really giving it to Naka here. And he just offered a draw to Naka in this position. Oh man, that's probably going to tilt Naka. A guy from FIDE Master from Monaco, just... It looks like he's sort of outplaying Naka, and then he offers him a draw. I can imagine that's a real tilter. Oh man. Is he gonna accept it? It looks like he's worse, so you might want to accept it, but no, Naka's Naka. Rook c8, baby, let's go. Guys, we should be live here. We're doing the titled Tuesday, and that's for December. What's up, everybody? Welcome with the final titled Tuesday of the year, and I'm pretty excited for this one. I can bring up the player list because it's a pretty exciting one already. As you can see here, we got Naka, big Naka Hikaru leading, number one, leading the charge. Hello to Chess Bay as people start to trickle in here. But yeah, we got Naka, number one seed. He's trailed by some pretty serious competitors here. I see we have MVL in the tournament. I see we have Parham Magsudlu from Iran in the tournament. We have ARM composer, that's Hovhannisyan from Armenia. Wesley So is in there. Firouzja, just some names that everyone knows. Some names that everyone can recognize. And the tournament gets underway in just a couple minutes here. I got my water. I'm rested, and I don't even have to play. So this is just a treat. I get to sit back and watch, which is exactly what I'd like to do with you guys. So hello to everyone out there in the chat, chess.com/TV, as well as the Twitch chat. Feel free to say hello and follow along. I'll be trying to pick out some comments from the chat, and if you have some favorite players or anything like that you want me to try to follow, I'll do my best to accommodate that. But yeah, like I said, starts in just less than a minute here. Thank you, QQ Knight, with the Twitch Prime. Hey, thank you very much. Starts in less than a minute, guys. What's up? The Harrison, Socratic Chess, UNC. Hello. I think I saw UNC in the playing Tang in the Royal Arena Kings yesterday, if that's the same username. I can't remember, but there's definitely someone, I'm pretty sure, named UNC who did really well in Arena King. So if that's you, man, congrats. Big Fish, Fedosiev, exactly. Pleasant Illusion, yep, thanks for that. But yeah, we got a big lineup today, guys. A big lineup. So, waiting for round one to get underway here. I think it's going to be any second now. And we can follow along with Hikaru here, who is the number one seed in the event, but he's being chased by his American compatriot Wesley So, as well as MVL, and man, just a star-studded list that I've already gone through. So won't say much more about that, but there are some really big names in this tournament, and I think it has to do with the fact that there's not really any other big tournaments going on right now. The World Championship just finished. A lot of people are taking December a little bit easier. It also comes right before some of the major December events. So in general, Speed Chess just finished as well. I think there's a lot of people with free schedules and a new interest in chess. Everyone is getting back into it after the World Championship. I know a lot of people that weren't into chess had their interest piqued from that. Whether or not you like the chess, doesn't matter. It's definitely motivating or intriguing to see the two best players in the world go at it. So, hey Max, how you doing? BJH in the chat as well. What's up, everybody? 64 hearts. So yeah, we're here with Title Tuesday, guys. This is for December. Reminder about Title Tuesday in general. It is a 10-round tournament. For those that don't know, the time controls 3 minutes each, plus 2 seconds increment. And we have some good chess we expect to be played. Good clean chess with no flagging. So we'll see if that holds true, but that's definitely one of the ideas with the 3+2 time control, is that we should get some better quality games, which is always fun to commentate on. So yeah, we're here looking at the top seed Hikaru. This December Title Tuesday, he's taking on Sandavigar from, looks like the Faroe Islands. Yeah, Faroe Islands. FIDE Master, so you always get some mismatches in the first round, but Title Tuesday is the tournament of upsets. People upset stronger players all the time in this event, so I never feel like I can really pick a favorite. I mean, Naka's a favorite, but there's a lot of players that suffer that first round upset, so Naka is hoping to not be among some of those players and take care of business here. He just played the move knight e5, and definitely makes way for ideas like knight d to f3. Meanwhile, this knight often drops back to d3. Okay, taken, probably takes with the rook, yeah. And the reason that white is not even slightly, but maybe significantly preferred here is this really nasty pin here, and ooh, knight c6 might be an annoying move. So is he going to take with the bishop? I think he might consider taking with the bishop here, but that leaves a pretty serious weakness on e6. Not to mention taking, followed by queen c6. Might be good, knight c6 as well. Okay, he has taken that. So if another move is maybe bishop to e4, but then maybe knight f6. So if you take here, the idea is that the knight comes to f6 next. This pawn on e6 is looking a little bit weak. However, I'm not seeing a crush here. So knight f6. Knight f6, he is going to take that pawn. Knight f6, I think he's going to take that. So that's nice. That's Naka's idea. Initially, it doesn't look like, white ever wants to take this, but after knight there, I think he will take that, play e3, king h1, slide the rook over. Hello, Brewers. What are you guys talking about? Levy. What are you talking about, Levy? Is the title not changed or something? That's not me. That's not me. I'll put that out there. I'm not trying to impersonate anyone. I'm not trying to defame the good name of Gotham Chess, but rather I'm just here with my purple hair, just trying to say hello. Just trying to say hello and commentate on some pretty exciting games today. Bishop d4 probably takes with the h pawn, and yeah, I don't think he'd take this here. I guess he was thinking about queen e6. So queen g5, hitting the rook. Bishop takes c5 now, takes, and I think Naka's kind of coasting here. Can just double rooks next, play king g2. That's the idea here. He's got a significant time advantage. He's also got an extra pawn. Looks like it will be 2 extra pawns. As, if you take back... Well, actually, I don't know what he's thinking about here. Considering rook d8, I imagine, but bishop e3 looks like it's just winning. Okay. Bishop d6, sure. Yep. If takes, just take back, and, that pawn goes to d7. Should be an easy win from there. So that game's done. Let's check out another game here. Wesley playing with the black pieces. Let's check that out from his perspective, because You might get scared of an attack like this. But is it really something to get scared of? What was the opening here? Just take a look, because that got really tactical really quickly. Queen h4, not even playing knight takes d5, so he must believe that there is more here. Wesley's in trouble, though. It's just this 8 seconds for white. 8 seconds ticking down. Oh, man. Can he hold it together here? Can he hold it together here? How you doing? The Super Saiyan. Queen e6. Is it going to be bishop d3? No, bishop g5. Any tricks down here? Bishop g5. He wants to play check and maybe here, but there's always bishop f8 at the end. There's always bishop f8. 2 seconds ticking down. Oh, man. He's up a full he's up 2 minor pieces for the rook, right? 2 minor pieces for the rook. King over. Queen h6 doesn't work. But knight f6 sure does. That looks like a blunder there from Wesley. Big time blunder. That might be just game over. Wesley's in big trouble here. Check. King c2. Oh, queen e4 though. Queen e4 and queen f2, queen e2. Oh, you got to move faster than that. That's a good move. Queen g5 is going to be played. Queen e5 check. Queen e5 check. Nice move. Nice move. Wesley's going down here, guys. Wesley is going down in this game. Calling it now. Big upset in round 1. Yeah, there's nothing to do here. Down 2 full pieces. And honestly, that's resignable. And he does resign. He does resign. Oh, man. What happened to Wesley in that game? I was just playing through the moves. All of a sudden, this queen g3 move, the attack just came out of nowhere. Bishop h6. And all of a sudden, c4. And Wesley found himself potentially losing a piece here. So just a nice rook takes d5 to make sure you win the 2 pieces for the rook, instead of taking with the pawn and allowing, tricks like that. But man, Wesley So taken down in round 1 here. That is a very, very big result. Let's see if MVL is still playing. No, MVL finished his game here. Oh, a lot of people finished their game. A lot of people finished their game. Keep going down the list here. There we go. There's Eric. He's playing, and he's got the king activated. King takes b5. But this is tricky. This is a tricky endgame. I think white has the advantage here because you take, and you play rook f6, take, and you should get the rook back there. But no, king takes, so probably close, very close to a draw. King d4, king to b3, rook a1, and then maybe king c5. Yeah, try to box out the king. So b5 and king b4, and or maybe just b6. I think that it should be winning. Oh, now it's going to be a draw. Or sorry, I don't know why I said it should be winning. I meant to say it should be winning chances, but no. Now it's definitely a draw. Was there any winning chances with king here, rook there? So if b6, that's what I was wondering about. b6, king here, b7. And then, rook has to go to b8, king c6, and you take this pawn next. So that's where I thought it might be winning. Clara Cottontail, the title is not something I can change. Hopefully someone can get in touch with Chess.com about that. People keep telling me that I'm Levy, and I'm trying to remind people, no, I'm not trying to assume any defamation suits. But yeah, I think b6 did give some winning chances here. I think it did. But a draw, so I mean, you can see the upsets are already coming in full force right here in the first round. This game is finished. I wonder which games are still going here. I think we got Gawain Jones. He just finished. He won. The games are starting to wrap up here in round 1 as I frantically go around looking for Looking for a game still going. There we go. 4 seconds apiece and 1 pawn extra for white, but it is a pass pawn. So that's probably important. Knight g7 looks good. Going to f5. King there. He wants rook check, but where's the mate? Knight e8 or knight h5. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Ooh, probably should have played knight h5. Oh, no, he was going for this mate. That was actually nice. Much nicer, much simpler from the Azeri player. And this one looks like a clear win for white. How fun is it to push those pawns up the board? Easy, queen, and you got 2 more pawns waiting. So we're pretty close to the end of the tournament here. That's a funny draw. I guess he tried this endgame for a while. Yep. That'll be a draw. That'll be a draw there. And I think the last game of the round is this one. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is winning. If I'm not mistaken, this endgame. You always get some good learning experiences in Titled Tuesday. That's for sure. Knight to b5. Bishop to e5. Okay, as long as you dominate the knight here, I think it's just over. Yeah, I think you just take the knight here. Now it's just over. But yeah, the knight just doesn't stand a chance against the 2 bishops. Does not stand a chance. Bishop there. And you want to use this bishop to chase the king in the corner. So you bring the king here. Use this bishop to chase the king over there. And you'll be able to bring the bishops back and deliver the checkmate like that. There we go. Finally, just waste the move, and then check, and then mate. All right. Finally, that is the end of round 1. Some upsets, some big upsets to speak of. Wesley So notably lost his first round game. I mean, I don't know what to expect from Title Tuesdays anymore. That Wesley So losing in round 1. A lot of upsets. I think Eric Drew's game as well. And we go to round 2 now, though. And Hikaru is playing a very weird opening. He's playing the French, first of all. Unusual. And then he's playing b6 here. b6. Yeah, we do not know what this opening is. This is just the Hikaru Blitz special. All right, bishop b7. And what? Queen. Yeah, I've played these before. Usually queen goes to h5. No, he wants to play queen d8. But maybe he's going to d8 because there's actually a pin on the bishop there. Takes, knight takes. Bishop c5 or knight c6. Bishop c5. So if bishop e3, there might be moves like knight g4. Here, I think Naka will just keep his bishops, look to castle. Queen c7. All right, and yeah, from here it's just easy development for Naka. I mean, he came out of the opening, unorthodox opening. If bishop f4, I think we'll probably see knight takes, bishop d6. because already you could be pretty happy here with black. Very happy, actually. We could take that and then just play a move like rook c8 or castle. And with pressure on that pawn, I think that black is doing well. Okay, so white's going to take. Probably play a move like bishop e3, bishop f4, castle, and the rooks have to start coming to the center here. But yeah, Naka's not playing the, like he has a big advantage here. He's just neutralizing the position, and he's gonna play for the advantage, on time, and as the game gets later and later, the stronger player will generally have the edge. But nothing at all wrong with white's position. He's got a great square for his knight. He's done well. Something like b3. He always has time to play h3, maybe trade the rooks. No particular rush. I think white's position is just fine, but I think this is more or less what Naka was expecting from the opening. Queen e4. Bishop d6. And what's going to happen here? These are just trades. So one thing is that I don't necessarily approve of the move rook d1 by white. So after the queen takes, you allow queen to come to e4. You hit the pawn there. I think that I would have rather had this queen on e2, always watching the move queen e4, and then keep my dark square bishop for moves like bishop c7 later on. I think that would be very valuable. I think bishop c7 is actually going to be kind of potentially annoying to deal with. I think it's around this time where I would want a escape square for my pieces as Hikaru. Knight d3 played. And again, this is not Naka taking a good position and converting it. This is Naka trying to take an equal position and convert it from there. Maybe bishop d4 here, or maybe is there even better? Bishop d4 looks like a decent move. So if bishop d4 hitting the pawn takes. Queen d2 doesn't work because of queen a1. And how do you defend that? I think you've got to play this. Although there is bishop takes b6. Yeah, and there's no queen f2. Yep, that's annoying. So h5 played. Well, everyone's wondering what happens on bishop takes b6. And by everyone, I mean including me. Oh, he played it. He played it. Naka's going full offensive here. Sacking all the queen side for the play here. Okay, so queen f1 looks like the move to look at. He played g3, h4. Now this is going to get tricky. Tricky Hickey. That's what he's called. Tricky Hickey. Knight d3. So if c5, that's probably a little hasty. c5 is probably a little much. But I don't see any big threats here for Naka after queen e2. I mean, he can create some, but I don't see... White should be doing well here. He's got to be careful of simple things like king g2 walks into knight f4. But this pawn's pretty close to rolling, and okay, knight c1 played, but I don't think this is particularly dangerous. Takes. He's going to take there, but white is up material here, and he should be doing well. He should be doing well. I got this pawn loose, so knight c1 is probably going to be played. In fact, knight c1 is definitely going to be played. Takes. He's going to take on b3. I imagine he's going to throw in h takes g3 pretty soon. I don't think white played this to the best of his ability. Essentially, if this pawn doesn't make Hikaru... Ooh, I don't like that move. I don't like that move. Maybe it's okay, but something about the knight endgame looks a little funky. Maybe g4. Okay, I think he's going to take here. Naka's really okay with having this pawn here. I would expect, you know, white to try to put the pawns on light squares. H3, not a move I wanted to allow, so we have to look at king g4 though. King g4. No, king g4, knight c5, let's say e5. Yeah. And how does this work? It looks to me like white just gets a pawn here. Definitely looks like white just gets a pawn. Okay, takes. Knight c5. Or knight b2 and knight d3. Here, knight d3, c6, king e7. Then knight f3, let's say. Does guard the pawn. Yeah, no, this should be okay for white though. You see what's going on here? Hey, hang on a sec. Hey there, buddy. You're not supposed to lose endgames like this. Uh-oh. Just knight takes e5 here, right? That looks like it works. Oh, man. f6 is almost mate, which is kind of funny. Oh, man. Naka flipping that around. e5 now. Knight h6 is mate if king f5. And now black's back to winning. That is a big swindle. That is a swindle. King to g5 next, and I think you can be happy about that. Okay, you don't want to rush into it because of knight e6, forking the king and the pawn on g7 there. King e7? No, he's going to allow knight f8. And what's the conversion here? What's the conversion here? Yeah, to me that's a throw, guys. To me that is a throw. Keep in mind, I think if you guys just hover over the screen here, or maybe it's displaying already, there's a list of the a few channels that I definitely encourage you to follow. They are playing in the Title Tuesday event. That's Jan Ludwig Hammer playing from his account, GMGLH. Eric is playing from the Chess.com account. And we got Hikaru, obviously, playing right now. We're actually watching him, but he has his own channel, GM Hikaru, streams on Twitch. Not just stuff like this, but he streams more regular, Blitz crushing sessions, as well as the Chess.com Spanish channel, Chess.com ES. And I believe that Luis Siles is playing from that account now. So definitely encourage you guys to follow some of the channels that are listed on your screen there. This looks like a win for Naka though. Really nice transition here. Turned that position from potentially worse to all of a sudden better, which is really, really incredible. King e5 and knight f5 check. Ooh, knight f5, now that's over. Okay, and that'll be it. Naka with a really, really nice game there, honestly. That's very impressive. We're going to go down the list here. Take a look at Bobby Hess. How's Robert doing? He's defending. Yes, he's defending a rook and bishop. That's what's going on here. So we're probably going to see rook check. Usually you want the king here and then some sort of rook check. So now, okay, where's he going? King e3, there we go. No, this looks like trouble, isn't it? I think this is bad. So rook here. He wants rook there. Something feels wrong about this. No, now you bring the rook over here, don't you? I have a feeling that this looks like a lost position, but maybe not. Rook b2 now. But this is usually what happens. Check, check, and check. And then you lose the rook. Yeah. No. there is something wrong with that position. That's not. Oh man, it's one of the hardest endgames to defend. It's not a comment on Robert's play. I have a story that I played in a tournament over the board in this endgame, and I was defending with the king and the rook, and at some point I wasn't sure how many moves we had made, so I was thinking about claiming a draw. All of a sudden I blundered, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna lose my rook and then lose the game. So right here, essentially, I claimed a draw, and it turns out that king e1 was my 50th move, but both players have to play 50 moves for it to be a draw, and rook takes rook in my game would have been his 50th move, so I actually lost the game, and I was on like move, as you can see, move 50 for making the draw. So feels very bad. I've actually just lost it in tournament play with the defending side, and I haven't had the pleasure of trying to win that position with the bishop and the rook, but it's one of the toughest endgames to defend, and we see it almost every Title Tuesday. Hey, Halvard HF, Ludwig, Socratic. Yeah, that's a real feels bad man, guys. That's a real feels bad man. I think we're just checking out some of the last games to play here. This one's going to be a draw as well, and then we'll be all finished for round 2. On to the next one after that. But these guys are playing on, even though they're both very capable of drawing this. No, Socratic, it doesn't work that way. Or I don't know what you're referring to, but if you're talking about my story, unfortunately a capture also resets the 50 move counter. So there's no way I could have prolonged it one more move to claim the draw. As long as you go straight back, you don't go diagonal or up or anything weird, it's just a draw. But these guys are really really playing on here for some reason. Can bring the standings up on your screen there because they're more interesting than this endgame. We got Nak on 2 out of 2. I see MVL's on 2 out of 2. I see a lot of people in chat were saying that he swindled his opponent. So maybe he had a tough outing as well, but did manage to win in the end, and that's really all that matters. So 2 out of 2 for him. And just a lot of people at 2 out of 2. I don't like to update the standings too often early on because there are so many players. Finally, these guys agreed to a draw. And let's take a look at the next round. Let's take a look here. We got GM Hikaru against GM Krikor. Or, as he's called, GM Krikor. I always thought that was weird, putting GM in your username. GM Krikor. I think Wesley So had that as well. He was GM Wesley So. I never understood that, but that's just me. So anyway, we got 3 GMs in this game. C3. What's Naka planning after Queen B6 here, by the way? I'm sorry, but to me, I thought that this was a mistake. Like, I must be missing something extremely obvious. After Queen B6, what's Naka planning? Because if Queen B3, a lot of people are familiar with this trick, which is good for black. And if Queen C2, you don't play this, caution, because of D takes C5 and white is actually preferred. But after G6, Bishop F5 and Bishop G7, black again is supposed to be better as far as I know. So E6, I mean, this just transposes to regular London system, but from what I understand, C3 is not the most accurate move by Naka, but maybe he did it intentionally and he was trying to bait Krikor into something. This I don't know, but I'm quite sure that C3 move was probably not the best. Maddie B, thanks for the sub. Welcome to the channel, Maddie B. That's right, Ludwig. I heard you like GMs, dog. So I'll put a GM in front of your GM name so you could be a GM with your GM friends. GM. Rook e1. Queen e2's coming. Rook d1, and just pretty easy play. d4 makes a lot of sense. You don't want to put up with a position where the bishop's open, but this may come at the cost of a pawn. Not immediately, but potentially soon. So he's trying to get this pawn in exchange. So something like queen c7, though, would be met by rook c1, gaining tempo. And in the meantime, knight takes d4 is coming. So actually, what is he planning here? Is he just going to sacrifice that pawn and play like b6, bishop b7? Say that he's going to finish development? Maybe that's the best way of doing things. Yeah, knight b3. This pawn is going down, it looks like. Is that a minute time advantage? Man, Naka already out to the minute time advantage. So knight there, knight takes d4 can be played from what I can see here. Just knight takes pawn, or that knight. And after knight takes d3, queen takes, and Naka took with that knight on f3 so that he would have f4 in his pocket here. But this already looks good for Nakamura. f4. Yep. Maybe queen e3. Followed with rook d1. I think we're going to see a5. Yeah, a5 is like an immediate move. He wants to play a4 and disrupt this knight here. If the knight moves, b2 is hanging. There's also pressure on d4. So Grigor has actually done a fairly decent job here. a4 is going to be pressured by the bishop. And meanwhile, you got this guy. They can come out here with rook c8 coming. So I think that Grigor's done a pretty decent job here because the two bishops are pretty good compensation for the pawn. The question is whether Naka is just going to bulldoze. Ooh, there's a nice move. Going to bulldoze in the position with f5, or if he's going to try to trade pieces. And he's actually done a little bit of both. He's trading pieces here, but I think he's going to do so in a favorable way. For example, takes, knight takes e7 here. King f8 takes, and a5 hangs at the end. So that was just a really nice transition by Naka. And if he can play b3, knight c4, knight d6, he's going to be coasting. Coasting. Bishop a4. So knight b7 is hanging here. Rook takes a4, runs into many of the mates down here. You can pick rook c1 or rook d1. So what happens on knight takes b7? That's what I'm wondering. Where does this rook go? Rook d2. So he's calculating rook d2, rook c2, and whether or not he can afford to let the rooks activate. But I don't think he has a choice. So he goes for it. Knight takes b7. Unfair umpire. Hello, hello. I like that username. If knight d6, he wants to play rook c2. So first of all, if something like this, thinking that, oh, you might draw, rook h3 puts an end to that, and we just have an extra piece plus a pass pawn. So after b3, bishop b5, he wants to play knight d6. Looks to me like bishop d7 is the most logical move. I would play bishop d7. So here, the reason I didn't like it is it blocks the rook. That seemed unnecessary to me. But he's putting it there because he does want to put pressure on that pawn. So my question is, after knight d6, ooh, rook a8. All right, rook c1, rook e1. Rook e1. So is he going to take and play rook b2? Because I think Naka is sort of getting out of this in a good way. The knight's protecting e4, and even if he wins the b pawn, white's going to have time to play h3 and then get the rook down, and it's all over for black there. g5 doesn't look particularly threatening. For example, yes, could be taken. White's going to follow up with h4 next. Rook b2, rook a7, h4, one of the two. Yeah, h4 first. Check. Is there a better move than check? I guess bishop d7 can be played. King h2 is a decent move, but I think you start with check, bishop d7, knight f7's on the cards. Takes, takes. King g6. I think he's going to go for that line, most likely. Interesting. Maybe knight h6 here. Yep. Stops rook g4, which was Krikor's idea. And now with knight g8 to, or knight g4 to f6, that's game over. Very nice by Nakamura. Put his opponent away pretty swiftly there. And let's take a look at some of the other games here. We have Ariantari playing in the tournament here. He's playing with the black pieces. Let's take a look at his perspective. Is he in some trouble here? It looks like he's mated. He is checkmated. That's correct. We tuned in, and unfortunately, that's the commentator curse. We have jinxed him. Let's take a look at MVL. How's MVL doing? He's here with 2 points. I've heard he's been swindling, but I haven't seen it for myself. Right now, is he swindling or is he actually ahead? Is he actually ahead here? Because he has a pretty serious attack. Seems to have a very good position. For example, I was thinking queen g4 in there, but there was king h2. There was king h2. Yep, so king h2 has to be played now. Forced. And MVL is saying, hey, my pawn is more valuable than yours because it's one square from queening. You have to leave a piece there at all times. And what piece is there? Well, it's a queen. It is one of the most valuable pieces. So I think he's going to try to do something like rook c1, maybe just run the pieces, but the checkmating threats are serious here. In fact, you can almost just play it. Very close to being able to playing it. He's just trying to play rook takes h4, guys. That's the big idea. If he gets checked, he's running his king to h6. No, he's not running to h6. He's running over here. Huh. I think he's got to be careful, though. This queen is very close to playing queen a5. 6 seconds for white, who's struggling here against MVL, but putting up a very good fight. c6 check is a tricky move. If queen takes, you start to be worried about your king in the middle, but no, he's done it. Queen takes, queen a5, and now what? That's the question. Queen c7 does threaten rook takes h4. I think MVL is just hoping he's not mated here. Rook e8 maybe. Rook a6. There was queen h8 in that position. I'm not sure if that was the best move, though. I think MVL is probably like in trouble here, but the time situation, guys. Oh man. Just queen, and then you have takes on f2. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible for Gadim Bailey here from Azerbaijan. Nicely done by MVL. Very, very tricky. He always played for the win there. I have a feeling that MVL was probably in trouble here. Again, no idea. I don't really have a computer or any way to verify that. But something about this position just looked like MVL was in trouble. Yeah, I think he might have escaped with one there. But that's one of the perks. Hey, let's check out John Bartholomew. How's John doing? Well, honestly, John is... I would have said John would be losing that position, but maybe let's take a look. Is that really... There's really nothing you can do here to try to take this pawn, huh? Okay, so why isn't he... Like, why did the guy not ever, like, try to attack the pawn? That's just a little weird to me. Like, for example, knight here. I don't understand why this wasn't played. So, if g5, maybe king here. Here, you can play knight here. You know, you can cover knight h8, knight g6, and then take the pawn. And if you play, like, king e4, knight there, hitting the pawn. And now you're threatening to just take it. F5 looks losing because the pawns can't advance. And G5, if we go back, again, I'm just hitting this pawn. I don't understand at all, actually, guys. That looks like a really, really poorly played position by black. Because this looks 100% winning. Just leave your bishop on c1, and then it's like he forgets that the knight can attack this pawn. He's just like, well, this was my line, but the line that he chose in the game was like knight there, knight there. He's going to all the squares that just do not attack the pawn. And he goes back to d6 and he says draw. But I think it's just winning for black. It's very simple. I think you just attack the pawn. But anyway, the game's finished. That was a John Bartholomew escaping with a draw there. And that did wrap up round 3. So we are into round 4. And there are some big matchups in round 4. So I wanted to take a look at a player we haven't looked at yet, which is Firouzja. We haven't checked his games. He's actually playing a fellow grandmaster from Iran here. Maybe he doesn't know how to mate with bishop and knight, but maybe that's why, huh? He didn't want to expose himself to the world. He's like, oh no, I don't know how to checkmate with bishop and knight, so I'm just going to agree to a draw right here so that nobody sees my poor technique. Maybe that's why, huh, guys? Makes sense? Who knows? But John will take that for sure. Escapes with a draw when he definitely should have lost that one. He's a GM, but he doesn't know. You would be surprised at the amount of high-profile players that do not know how to checkmate with a bishop and a knight. I think I've spent many Title Tuesdays actually showing you guys exactly how to do it. For those that have seen the Title Tuesday tournaments in the past, I have given many a lecture on how to checkmate with bishop and knight. I know that even the strongest players have trouble with that one. I don't know why. I personally think it's not difficult. You learn a pattern, you memorize it, and you employ it. But I understand also that a lot of people do have trouble with it. So yeah, everyone has their things that they forget. That's right. Ushenina, women's world champion, did not remember how to do a knight against bishop. There's been a lot of famous examples, but yeah, it's everyone has things they forget. Sometimes it's theory, sometimes it's certain patterns. For a lot of people, it's bishop and knight. Knight f4, yeah, I would take that, sure. e5 with rook e1, and even if you end up losing this pawn, which I don't think you will, as Firouzja here, you have the idea that black has the bishop and you have the knight, and you try to play against that. So yeah, he's going to try to play maybe like a4. He's threatening queen takes f4 right now. This just looks like a great position for Firouzja. Yeah, more pawns on dark squares should benefit that knight. Maybe queen e4, maybe a4, rook e1, all look like good moves. Knight d4 is the idea now with e6 coming, also knight f5. Knight d4 looks like a good move. Does knight d4 work? I'm trying to calculate bishop takes e5. Because if knight f3, we have this in-between move, and it does unpin us. In knight f5, there's something like queen f6, for example, or takes first and then queen f6, and again, you seem to be okay there. So I think that's what he's calculating here. He probably does want to play the move knight to d4. Am I playing in the tournament or just commentating? I am just commentating the tournament right now. I would love to play, but at the same time, I would also just love to sit back, relax, and have no pressure. Get to hang out with you guys. You know, just call the moves from afar. Even if I make a mistake, it's not my rating. It's not my rating at stake here. Knight takes h5 there. No, I don't think knight takes h5 worked. That's why I played rook takes d1. That's why I played rook takes d1 first. But actually, now that I think about it, It wasn't actually what you were talking about, but you made me remember that rook d1 is actually not possible because it's not check. Thought it was check. It's not. You can grab my queen first, so that would be a huge mistake on my part, which means that in this position I would have to do this, and you could start with this. Knight takes h6, but again, the problem with knight takes h6 is, okay, if I play a move like king there, the rook endgame looks probably drawn. If I take, rook takes, I don't think this endgame is special at all, because it's just 3 pawns against 3. So you're definitely right about knight takes h6, but it's not a tactic. Right? You're not winning material. So unfortunately, I don't think it would be enough. This, however, is 2 rooks against a queen, but this pawn looks like it's going to fall, and white is trying to say that the king on g8 might be a little loose. The king on g8 might be a little loose. Knight e7, king h8, not king h7 just because it allows queen e4 check for free. And bishop takes e5 is going to be met by takes queen f8, queen takes f7, queen f6, and take the rook. So this does not work. My chair is making sound. Please stop that irritating sound. What sound is my chair making? I don't think my chair is making any sound. Unless I go like this, really rub into it. You're just trying to get me dancing. Trying to get a lap dance on stream. I understand. I understand. But I don't think my chair is making noise. Maybe it's something else. That's some Puzzle Rush stuff. That's right. That does look like some Puzzle Rush stuff. The bishop takes e5 line. So okay, what's it gonna be? b4 here. White's got to be careful long term. This king is pretty vulnerable to like a bishop on g3, rook d1 mate. Yeah, I don't think the chair's making sound, but hey, everyone has some voices in the head. Everyone has some voices. And that guy's voice was my chair. So I'm honored. I'm honored. Queen e4. Is it going to be... No, knight there doesn't make any sense. Like, how does white make a threat here? I think it's queen d8 check, followed by knight e7 with the threat of queen g8. I think that's the threat. So queen d8, bishop f8. That's what he's... Ooh, not bishop f8? Huh. Well, now there's queen g8. I think you just have to take. Like, queen g8 is a huge threat. I think that was just a serious blunder. Yeah, now this is over. Queen takes pawn. Oof, it should be over. Takes. So he's trying to set up some sort of... I don't think it's going to work, though. So rook there. He's trying to set up something where this pawn is defended. So, c4, bishop f8, and he wants to play bishop c5 and king g7. I think with the king coming up the board here, probably white is going to be able to win this on the king's side. He's doing his best. He's trying to set up a fortress here, but I don't think it works. I don't think it works. King h5. Okay, queen d7. Something like queen d7. Rook there. Queen here. Okay, so he's got everything defended, but I think here we can even play g4. Yeah, and if you take, we have queen e8. It's a good move. And now with g5 coming, I think I wouldn't play right away. Probably there's some better way you can calculate here to play g5, but this definitely looks like you're on the right track here. King there. Takes. There's no rook g6. You're threatening queen e5. And this looks good. This looks good. So, queen there, and that's winning. There you go. There we go. Yeah, this one wasn't really close to a fortress, but that was a really nice game from Firouzja. Let's check in with Naka's game, which, oh boy, this one's exciting. Holy smokes. Let's take a look from Naka's perspective. He's got a rook hanging here. No, Naka's with the black pieces. Okay, it's really hard to follow. Very hard to follow. This king's actually on b8. I thought that was g1. Even with the coordinates, I'm useless here. Okay, so this rook is hanging here. He's not going to take it, right? He's going to try to play for the win. Rook over. I wonder if this is any try. Knight e4 here, or knight d5, I should say. I'm looking from black's perspective. Let me switch the board back to help my sanity. So yeah, this is where black's going. Black's going down the board. And that is the Nakamura. He's pushing. There's a rook here if you push the pawn there. Yep, we're going to get rook there next. Why is the white king there? Who knows? There's a queen on the board, though, so probably there was some chasing involved. Okay, we're going to see some sort of zigzag out. Knight check. Knight check again. This looks like a puzzle rush thing. I have a feeling there's puzzle rush stuff here. Queen takes f4. Is that playable? Ooh, queen takes f4 looks like a draw. Does Naka want more than a draw? Everything's protected, so it's kind of hard to get more here. It almost feels like he is playing for more, though. He's going to play king f3 and g3. It looks like he's playing for more. I'm kind of worried for him. I think queen takes f4 was a draw there. And this starts to get potentially dicey. Queen check. There's a rook there. Because now we've stopped the pawn. Now we've stopped the pawn. So now we can go here. Ooh. Here, there's queen h1. I just think that if anyone can lose this, it's going to be Nakamura, and because he's playing it on, it looks like there's actually a chance that could happen. Huh. What do we play? King f2 here? Yeah, now rook d4. So rook d4, queen there. Maybe that's a nice move as well. That's a nice move as well. So we are threatening rook takes on g4 here. Now we got the white king back on f1, and now the position makes more sense. I think Naka might really be pushing his luck here. Huh? What was the point of rook? This was mate, wasn't it? Okay, I'm just making sure. I think white has been looking at too many puzzle rushes. Because he saw king h1 and he's like, oh, you know, I got to sacrifice here for the fans. I think he's been watching too many. He's been playing Puzzle Rush too much. I think he's been playing Puzzle Rush too much. He wanted to show off. But like I said, I saw that coming. Naka, I don't think should have been playing on there. He had a chance where I thought queen takes f4 was a draw. And I just think he absolutely should have taken it. Playing on there with the queen against 3 pieces is, you're never going to, good things are never going to happen. So I think that was probably unnecessary from his perspective. But that's just one of the things about Naka is just he's always confident in himself. Always feels like he should be playing for the win because he is better than most players out there in Blitz. So maybe it came back to bite him a little bit in this game. But a loss for Nakamura and a nice win there by white. Exactly, yeah. Check raise mate. If anyone asks him, he could just be like, oh yeah, man, I was just sacking a rook against Naka, no big deal. Sacked a rook for checkmate. Like it was nothing, man. Okay, rook there. Nice. There. Rook there. You take that. And then you go back. We're trying to take that pawn. So bishop here. Rook back. We've got to find a way to get this. So I think what we have to do is go back. Ooh, rook f5. I do not like that move. Somehow we have to get this pawn. That's the mission here. I think we might be doing it. Here. So bishop f4. Rook f5. And now we're back to this type of position. Maybe king f6 there. Yeah, I think no matter what, you either have to check from the side or from the front. You have to get this king to move. I sound like Eric. What's up, Justin? I don't think I've been called a lot of things. I've been told a lot of things. But the fact that I sound like Eric is definitely something I have never been told. Yep, this is trouble here. Now, hopefully promoting to a knight saves him, but... What? Does this work? Here, king there? Oh man, does this work? Maybe this is one of those things that it's just good to know. Maybe it's just one of those things. Wow, that's yeah, that's good. If you check here, just king there. Now it's much easier. Just go back. Nicely done. There you go. Piece of information for you guys. Good to remember. So king here, king here. Oh, I don't know why auto queen's on there. Well, I do know why auto queen's on, but if you promote to a knight, king here, the knight can go to h6, and after knight h6, knight g8, I don't think black is making progress here. So that's why you played king g8, and even if you play here, king h8, and if you take it, that is just a stalemate. Nice. And check, you can just block with queening, and here you would actually be losing if you tried to do this. So yeah, I think that's it for the round. Yep. So that one turns out to be a draw with pretty good defense by the looks of it. Big result, Nakamura did lose, as we just saw. So it means actually Firouzja is in front with 4 points. He's tied with MVL 4 out of 4, Gawain Jones 4 out of 4. And if we go down here, there's even a FIDE master as well as some international masters with perfect scores. So pretty competitive so far. Let's get into the next round though. A lot of upset, guys. A lot of upsets. That is the theme so far. Oh, talking like him. That's fair, Justin. That's fair. Eric and I talk very similar, and so do a lot of people who watch our streams or start interning with us. Yeah, the intonation is definitely shared, so I can appreciate that. Once again, if you're watching the stream and you're looking at the names on your stream there should be some featured streamers. Those are John Bartholomew. You guys all know John has a pretty popular YouTube channel, but he's also streaming a lot on Twitch lately. Take a look at John Bartholomew's channel. GM Krikor, we just saw him play against Nakamura a few rounds ago. Krikor from Brazil does some shows in English and in Portuguese, so definitely check him out. He also does some shows on the Chess.com Portuguese channel. I think the Chessbra account is still there. That's featuring Eric. You guys all know Chessbra account. Eric or myself is usually streaming there, but Eric is actually streaming his perspective of this tournament right now, Title Tuesday, on our channel. So that's Twitch TV Chessbra, as well as Tortuga Chess, who is Vladimir Dobrov, someone who also recently started streaming for for Chess.com. So check him out. A lot of different nationalities there. Dobrov streams Russian and sometimes Krikor in Portuguese as well. So some variety. Some variety. And me, I'm just over here streaming in English. Just streaming in English. We're looking at the game of MVL right now. And boy, is this a weird type of opening. Some of the maneuvers in this opening are just, you know, rook on a5. Like, what's going on here? But I'd have to say offhand, this looks pretty good for MVL. The important thing to keep in mind is c5, which you guys are probably screaming for, is met by queen d5. Not only do you threaten checkmate, but even if you could take the knight, that rook on a5 would be hanging. So there's a lot of ways that that c5 does not work here. But bishop e4 looks like an idea. d4 sometimes is an idea just to sack a pawn and blast things open. But some really weird piece placements just in general for all these pieces here from MVL's position. Who did Naka lose to? He actually just lost to this guy that we're looking at right here, who's playing the black pieces, Open Yagami. He just beat Naka, and now he's playing MVL, so no easy pairings, that's for sure. What's up, Distant Fire, as well? In the chat, hello, Twitch Railbird, Mwando, I see you there, Young Slug, Impala, how are you guys? Hey, Rick, how you doing? How are you, Rick? Queen d3, and what are we gonna see here after queen d3? Thanks, Sensei Chess, for the resub, 7 months in a row. Thank you, Sensei Chess. c5, knight d5. So we did see some piece exchanges there. Queen to d3. And after queen takes, pawn takes, c5. Can we take here? Probably not quite because of knight takes c3. This does not look good for white. Not the transition you want here. What? What? He must have not liked his position. This is not what you want here from white. This is where you go like, wait a minute. What does MVL know that I don't? Because that is definitely not something I would have done. Maybe there was nothing better, or maybe he didn't like his position. Knight b5. Is he trying to transition to knight d4 here? What's the idea, by the way, if knight takes a7? Is he just going to play rook d1 check and move the bishop? Okay, knight takes c6 is a clear threat. Maybe rook c8. Knight c4 look better? You'd think so, but where's the knight going? You have to make way for knight a5, I think, to be dangerous in any way here. Because knight d6, I can always just take it. But I'm not necessarily convinced here. Bishop e4 looks like a nice move, threatening. Rook takes e3. The reason he played c6, though, was to threaten rook b7. Now, after takes, this might just be... Is this just serious trouble here? I think this is serious trouble. There's knight e6 here. And... we at least win some pawns. Wow, that was really well played by MVL. That was really well played by MVL. So after knight takes, he wants to play rook takes. Ooh, but he might run into some nice tactics here. Yep. Rook there. Just rook there. Yep. That's the easiest way. Man, MVL, I have to say, that was extremely impressive. That was extremely impressive. Hello, Mondonor. Before the exchange of pieces, maybe knight c4 instead of bishop d3. But remember, there's always you know, that position is, nothing's forced there. So, you know, that's calculating something completely different. So I don't know. Maybe it would have been better, but the way MVL played it, I can't make too many recommendations. He seemed to play it pretty well there. Queen takes here? No. Gawain Jones is barely surviving. 4 seconds. I think that rook can be taken. He's going to take there, take back. And if the queens get off the board, black is actually probably winning. King G7, that does not look right. Rook G1 check? No, King G7 looks very wrong. Very wrong. So did Queen G3. I didn't understand any of these moves. Maybe Queen B6? Oof. Well, I don't understand almost anything I'm seeing here. Rook G1 has been begging to be played for a long time. There's still no checks to the king, and now you want to set up something with Queen H8 or Queen D8. So black goes for a jog, King E5. Black goes for a jog here, check, king up, Queen B4 check. How is that endgame? Quick calculation. Okay, Queen B4 takes, D4, A4, D3. And black is going to try to get his bishop to E4. Black's going to try to play bishop E4. So king C2, bishop E4, cover the A8 square, and then push this pawn all the way. Rook E5. I don't like the move king D2. No, I don't like that at all. Here, just takes. Yeah, no, this is winning for white. Should be winning pretty easily, actually. So let's see here. Takes on D5 is probably not enough to win. No, that's not going to be enough to win. So you got to play Queen E8 probably. What am I missing here? Queen B1. No, sorry, not Queen B1. I was wondering what I was missing. Like, when I initially calculated this, I saw the black queen first. But then when he went for this, I was like, oh, okay, I must have missed something. But no, I didn't miss anything. That was just not good. So, why on earth did he do that? Okay, so, if queen here, king up, something like queen here, king there, queen here, king down, maybe he didn't see anything here. But now this is different. Just as an example. As an example, king here, and if you make a queen, I have checkmate. And if you give me a check to sort of ruin my checkmating ideas, I'll play king d3. You'll make a queen. I'll take. And now I play b4. And now look at the difference, guys, is I actually do have a checkmate. So those are a few lines that just come to mind. Like, I think white did a terrible job there at the end. I think he's probably winning. But queen takes d5 is just a really bad blunder. Probably, if you ask me, he just miscalculated, thought he was queening first, and then he had queen b1 check. That's what it looked like to me. But I think there's a lot of lines there at the end that still present some very good winning chances for white. In any case, that game was a draw. Let's keep going. Take a look at some of the other games. This one looks like a very technical win for white, or sorry, for black here. Yeah. Martinique 24. Looks like she's gonna, I don't know who that is. Maybe someone can help me out. But Martinique 24, let's see the textbook endgame technique. B2, Rook A7, GG. Oh, no. Okay. Good enough, but Rook A7 is easier if your opponent ever does not play that. Check. Rook there, or rook there. All good. Very nice. And that'll be winning. Wow. Yeah, that's a nice upset there. Congrats to Martinique WGM. And there's a few more games. Nurmi TV. Does he have the white PC? No, he's defending. Nurmi's defending against Aquatic Pineapples from Canada. So we got some representation here. Nurmi is a Chess Bra sub, longtime Chess Bra sub, and Aquatic Pineapples from Canada as well. So let's see who comes out on top. Queen against Rook. The Queen always should win against the Rook. You don't see this drawn too often because the computer can put up some pretty good resistance, but usually for a human, you want to have your Rook and King close together, but one of the most difficult ways to defend is actually putting your King and your Rook far apart, which is really hard to do. It's hard to calculate that you're just not going to lose your Rook or something. So what we're seeing right here, I think, is just pretty good conversion from White so far. There we go. There's the Queen, or the King and the Rook disconnecting. We're going to have check. Then we're going to have King over. King. There we go. And if you move the Rook somewhere over here, then White's going to try to zigzag and take it. Yep. So now this is actually a textbook position. King F3. There we go. And now the Rook's going to go somewhere. And White just has to do a few correct checks in order to pick it off. But so far what you're seeing is pretty much perfect play. Oh, that's an even easy one. Queen there actually just won the Rook. But what you're seeing is pretty perfect play. Queen there wins the Rook now. There we go. Now you win the Rook. There we go. So it was perfect play until he had to win a free Rook. Then he stopped playing perfect. But that's fine. He was already winning. But yeah, once you force the King into the corner, it's a pretty textbook win from there. Nice job, though. That was a good conversion. And I think that leaves us with round 6 now. I thought we were going to see Firouzja against MVL as well, but that's not the pairing. That's not the pairing. I can bring up the standings just to show you guys, but we have MVL 5 out of 5, Firouzja 5 out of 5, and Geraldinho from Romania, by the looks of it there, also with a perfect 5 out of 5. And I thought those two top players would play, but instead it's actually Firouzja plays Geraldinho, and MVL has a separate opponent. So if those guys continue their perfect scores, they will meet each other eventually. But right now we have Firouzja here playing the white side of a hedgehog, and knight d5 here is going to be a very good move. I don't understand. Knight c6 is a very, very basic, like, is he really going for this? Rook takes c7? Wait a minute. Who missed something? Who missed something? Did I miss something? Did Firouzja miss something? Hang on a sec. Rook in 2 pieces. I'm over here going, hey, this is very basic, and Geraldinho is going, hey, dude, where'd you buy that GM title? So normally, and I'll preface this with normally, you don't play this because of knight takes d5, takes, and you open the Rook on the Queen. What he's done is he's actually, and look how quickly Firouzja played knight d5 too. He was like, what are you doing, dude? This is a mistake. But what I see here is actually probably a position where Black might be doing very well, surprisingly. So it's going to be Rook in 2 pieces against the Queen. Now, I'm not just calling this a win or something because something like b3, Rook c3, Queen c2. I'm not just calling this a win because although you have the material with Black, this pawn can be a little bit weak. You know, b3, a4, you can really try to control these pieces. So this might be just fine for Firouzja. But it just looked like that should have been a tactic that you see in Puzzle Rush, and then you try it, and it says you're wrong or something. So it was just a really weird experience. Normally that tactic never works for Black, but clearly he prepared not for Title Tuesday, but maybe just has this line in his head that it's actually an example of some place where you can play knight c6 and get away with it. b5 played. This is the type of position I was talking about. I feel like if the queen sort of gets in there, you know, starts attacking the pawns, on the flip side, as soon as black creates an escape square, knight f4, the rook comes down here, you start to get some real serious threats against the white king. Hard to tell who is going to be in trouble, but let's say takes, rook c4. Taking here, you can just take that bishop there, because you're never going to get back rank mated. You have too many pieces. Yeah, rook takes a4. This is just a really nice game from Geraldinho. Wow, holy smokes. Bishop e8 or knight f8, one of the two. Bishop e5. Wow, no fear, man. No fear at all. He's coming down with the rook. He's got the bishop going back to just defend everything. This looks like a really nice game so far. Really nice game so far. Bishop b6. Hello, Mannered Monkey. Yes, a very dominant performance by the Romanian here. It is Romania, right? Or is that Moldova? Oh, it's Moldova the whole time. Sorry there. Well, actually, I didn't say Romania too many times, but those are some flags I often mess up. Medusa hairdo. That's among some of the comments I have received. Yes, Medusa, sure, acceptable. But yes, the Moldovan legend, Geraldinho. I don't know who that is. It looks like a public profile. Maybe someone can tell me the person's name. But this looks like a really impressive game so far. Bishop c7. Looks like oh, bishop c7. He wants to play knight c4. And he's just going to guard everything. So knight c4, is he going to play e5? Takes, d6, and then check, rook d1, and you stop that pawn. Well, it's already stopped from moving, but maybe you do that. Maybe you do that. What's going on here? King up. And how do you stop this? How do you stop bishop e7 here? What's going to be the move? There's no way it's knight e3. I'm trying to figure this out. Bishop e7 seems like a very serious threat. I actually don't know how to deal with that. Oh, maybe was there bishop e8? Jeez. I was thinking something like this. G5? It's crazy. But I'm trying to get the king to go here, play rook check and rook takes. And then if king there, I thought there's bishop here. But man, king up. I didn't look this far. Jeez. Who knows? That's a crazy line. So bishop h4, g5. What are these guys even playing right now? I can't even follow this. This is too advanced for me, guys. This is too advanced for me. G5 and f6. So bishop takes, king f7, which is the point. Now you hit this at the same time. There's queen c7 and queen takes c4, which might be played. I'm not sure how well the bishops actually coordinate here. The queen could be pretty annoying on c4, and white's king is actually pretty well protected here. Reminder, if you look on the screen there, I think it's a rotating carousel there of some of the other featured streamers that we encourage you guys to follow. I think Chess Bra is still there. Eric Hansen going strong, streaming the not Arena Kings, rather Title Tuesday today from his perspective on the Chess Bra channel. And we also have Dawid streaming in Polish and Stewie Griffin streaming in Spanish. So along with Mariana Huda, we encourage you to take a look at some of the other streamers that are streaming the Title Tuesday today, because there's a lot of different perspectives. And yes, a lot of people, the Danks Apple, think that it is in fact the Tilted Tuesday. That is probably the most common question. Now it looks like white is better, if I had to say. Good transitions have been made. King G7. King there, and he wants Queen C7 after that. Is he not losing material here? Yeah, he's getting mated, right? There we go. Firouzja. Man, Firouzja came from behind there, I want to say. That was a pretty surprising opening by Geraldinho. I did not know that tactic could be played there. And Firouzja did a pretty good job handling it. That was very impressive. Very impressive. Firouzja maintains his perfect score in this Title Tuesday. He goes to 6 out of 6. And I've heard that MVL also crushed his opponent for 6 out of 6. So we should see MVL against Firouzja in the next round. But let's take a look at some of the other games here. We have Parhamov from Iran. That's Parham Magsudlu against GM Gwenplan, who I think is Boris Grachev from Russia. Yes, the dankest apple. Eric is streaming on the Chess.com channel. I'm here bringing you the live coverage from the Chess.com Twitch channel. So I'm just the host of the Title Tuesday, but Eric and many others who are also streaming right now are actually playing in it. I can't do both. Maybe I could do both, but I'm not doing both today. Let's say that. A lot of double pawns here for white. Rook G6, Rook G2, King B1. And there's not even a draw here, though. King A3. I think white is winning now. C5. Did he just lose? Did the move C5 just lose? He just lost his knight. That's hilarious. It's actually trapped. He actually just trapped his knight, guys. Oh my goodness. What just happened? Knight F6. And just bring that king to C8. Easy. Bring the king, play E4. Wow. Wow. Game over. Jeez, that's a crazy way to lose. He just trapped his knight there at the end. Just trapped his knight. Let's keep going down the list. Who else do we have playing here? I see Jeffrey Zhang playing. That's a name I actually haven't heard in a while. He's playing Alexander Donchenko, who's another fairly young grandmaster from Germany. Right now, it looks very close to a draw. Yeah, I think this is just a draw. Knight F6, and then Knight D5. Yeah, so Knight F6 here. Should be a draw. Knight E3 and then Knight G4 check. Knight E5 check. No, he's just going to go back. I think he's just going to leave the knight on D5 or something. Oh, take that. Take that knight. The King E3. There you go. That's a draw. But yeah, I feel like Jeffrey Zhang is a name I haven't heard in a while. Even in, tournament play or on Chess.com. Maybe he's been active and I'm the one who's been missing. I'm the one who's been in a hole covering the World Chess Championship all month, so I don't know what's back out there, but feels like I haven't heard his name in a while. In any case, that game was a draw. This game looks like it should be a draw. It's really hard to push in these types of positions, but certainly black is the one playing for the win. That's Kenan Garayev. He was an Isle of Man. There you go. That's a case of me being MIA, not him. The Isle of Man tournament. That was another one that I clearly did not follow closely enough. Check. And are we gonna get pretty close to a draw here? Bishop H5. King F4. Check. King G5, you get mated. Don't do that. Queen B5, Queen B1. Now King G5 though. And then Queen B5 check. There's no queen check on the diagonal. But this is what he's going to do. If king g5, he's going to play queen a5. And then king d2, there was queen d2. He's going to check on b4. Okay, king e5. He's coming close to losing it. It's really scary with that queen there. You got to be so careful you don't blunder some checks and lose your queen. How you doing, Chris? Queen g7 check. Oh, sorry, queen e6. Didn't see that, but yeah, that's obviously much better. Forces the queens off the board, and there you go. There you go. So we're coming down. I think this is the last game. Yes, this is the last game here. New Bear from India is defending a rook and bishop. You guys have seen this already. So usually what you need to do here is you need to play something like rook there. You need to play, what is it? Rook here, and bishop e3. And that's how you take the second rank usually. So bishop e3, there you go. Rook there, king d4, and now with this check, you should be able to take the second rank, or at the very least, yeah, so king there. Probably we want to give a different, I think he messed up there just in those final couple moves. He did the right thing. Bishop e3 was right. King here. I would have personally maybe gone check and rook a3 first. But no, the way he did it is not how I would have done it. Because now the king kind of escapes. In any case, yeah, he's got to do it again. He's got to play bishop there. I think you've already seen this position, actually, from him. Yeah, king there. Now you get check. So there we go. This is what should have happened last time. Something like this. Bishop there. And you have to be real careful in these positions here. Hang on a sec. Is he going to play this? We have check now. So if rook there, we play king. No, we play rook here. Rook h3. The only thing is what he's going to use now, guys, is the technique of, let's say here, rook h3. If king here, for example, and we go king here, he's going to use this as the defensive technique. I would have gone bishop a3. In any case, I think we're pretty close to hitting 50 moves. New Bear seems to be doing a pretty good job here, and it's actually Black who's got like the 3 seconds every time, and he's got to worry about losing on time. So king b3, rook b2 check. There we go. That was the defensive technique I was talking about. Now king c2. But yeah, once you find that, I think now it's okay. Now he's got a pretty firm grip on how to draw. Because once you do it a few times in this endgame, then you can start repeating the drawing techniques. And if your opponent can't find any ideas to combat that, then you can often come away with the draw fairly easily. Okay, so Hikaru recovered. He did win a game. He's at 5 out of 6. He doesn't have a perfect score. We saw him lose earlier, but let's not waste any time getting into the game of the round. We're in round 7 now of the Title Tuesday for December, the last one of 2018. And we have Leon Beast, that's MVL, against Firouzja 2003. That's Alireza Firouzja, or as people have been correcting me, Alireza Firouzja. Firouzja. The accent has to be placed on the last part of the word, unless those people were trolling me. But I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. Bishop b6. Here we go. We're in the game. It's a Sicilian MVL, known to play this from both sides, and this is the pretty typical type of Sicilian where, let's imagine in this position that this knight moved. Let's say this knight moved. Black would never play a move like this, or should never play a move like that. Why? Because these light squares that get left over are far too weak. Now, vice versa, white should never take on e6. Because black will take with a pawn and control those two squares. So you see that both players are fighting for these light squares in the position, and it all has to do with the trade of the light squared bishops. You never want to do it on your opponent's terms. You never want to do it on your opponent's terms. Takes. With the queen, of course. There's no rook f4. Knight takes b3 can happen at any point, which will undermine the knight. So you always have to keep in mind that you have to keep it protected with one extra defender, because the bishop can be removed. Bishop c2 threatens mate, and it threatens b4. Bishop f5 is a rather natural response. The only thing about this is after queen e2, bishop take, or queen e4, a4 could be played too, but queen e2 is more natural. If you take here, queen takes, b4 is a threat, and what have we done? If you remember what I was talking about earlier, from white's perspective, we actually traded light squared bishops without allowing black's pawn to come to e6. So if you look at the light squares after an exchange like this, yeah, this knight moves, and all of a sudden the rooks are so perfectly placed, and these light squares start to become an issue in black's position. So that's why he went back with bishop e6, and he actually attacked that knight, so there's no time for b4. Now bishop e4, and he has to move the rook to save himself from the b4 threat. So, after all that, after all is said and done, what are we actually threatening here? Knight e3 is a pretty reasonable type of move. b4 doesn't look any good because of just knight c4. Something like b4, knight c4 actually looks good for black there. Knight gets a pretty nice home. Rook d3, looking to simply double with a lot of pressure on that d6 pawn. And I think MVL just has a comfy, dare I say advantage. I don't know, maybe he just has a comfy position, but in any case, I think it's a lot easier to play with the white pieces. Leon Beast is Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, that is correct. A lot of people playing this tournament. And let's not forget Naka. He lost the game earlier, but it's not like he's out of the tournament or something. He's right here. He's got 5 out of 6, and he's up against a very tough opponent right now. So he's going to be doing his best to catch up in the tournament. So he's definitely not out. I also see Penguin is here playing David Paravian, and this looks like a really nice position for Penguin. He's going to reroute the knight to d4, king f2, and yeah, knight e2, knight d4. That looks proper. Maybe black's going to try to play g5, but I think this position looks good for Penguin. Rook a7 and rook a5, so that's Grandmaster Andrew Tang looking very comfortable here. Yep, he did play that g5 move we talked about. But with 5 points out of 6, he's looking at a potential 6 out of 7 here going forward, which would be very, very good. Let's jump back to the MVL game. I'm imagining something like knight f7, or yeah, knight b7 simply not possible. So knight f7 I think is what he's looking at or plan to play, because you stop white from taking that pawn. The only thing is you do allow trades with like bishop d5, for example. You would allow those trades. So knight there. Bishop d5 is an idea, but after takes, you're not threatening that pawn very much. So I'm not sure if he's going to do that. This pawn is also hanging on a7. But you got to really decide if that's what you want to do. He's going for it. Pawn grabbing. Roadhouse. Can you see the brackets? Well, you can see them by following the MooBot link, but if you're waiting for them on this stream, I usually bring them up just after the games are finished each round to just update you before we go into the next round. Right now we're in the middle of things, don't want to miss the action or cover up the board while I'm showing the standings, so I'll just bring them up after the round. Queen f6. I have to say that Firouzja is doing decent, but we have to remember what occurred was queen takes a7. He just snuck in, grabbed a pawn, and left. in and out. It's like a go-go gadget arm. Just extend it to a7, grabbed what he needed and came back out. So in any type of endgame, or as the pieces start to trade, then it becomes more apparent that, hey, white is actually up a pawn here. So don't forget that going forward. It looks like black's position has improved, and his coordination of pieces has improved, but he is down a pawn for that. So that was the trade-off. Takes, rook takes b5 is the threat. Very hard to prevent. It's probably going to have to be some active moves that he does. Yeah, e4. There's no way to defend this passively, or it's just not advised. So after knight d4, something like maybe knight e5, knight g5. Is he going to try to go? Is he going to try to just play knight e5 here? Just go for some counterplay, maybe knight d3. So knight takes b5. And are there any tricks? Knight d3. Yep, this is what I was saying. It looks like this is the right way to do the counterplay. But it might just not be enough because knight takes e4 is coming. Rook takes c3, knight takes e4, for example. I think that white is winning here. That's what it looks like to me. Knight takes f2 just doesn't cut it. Knight here. What about just knight takes c4? I think that's game over. Okay, he's going for the last ditch checkmate attempt, but I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. So, rook takes d5, rook f3, knight e5, nice move, and resigns. MVL had that all planned out. That is a pretty nice game against a very strong player. So Firouzja goes down to Maxime, who moves to a perfect 7 out of 7 on the tournament. Very, very impressive from him so far. Let's take a look at Penguin. How's he doing? He's up a piece, and he looks to be liquidating favorably here. King takes e5, knight takes f7. Yeah, and that is all she wrote. You can bring that rook right over to c6 or c7 here. And as long as you're behind the pawn, play king g3. I think you're fine here. d6, d7, yep. So, Penguin should win this game. Maybe d7 and what? Bishop d1? Maybe bishop d1 is a decent move. So rook d4. I think he wants to play, what, bishop e2? Trying to figure out what he wants to do here. Maybe just move the g-pawn as well. King e1. It looks a little unnecessary, but maybe it's actually quite clever. Yeah, that's actually nice from Andrew. Good technique there at the end. Hikaru also won his game already. Very angry Hikaru. He lost the game. He is right back in it. He is winning game after game, so he's climbing back, and he could be within a half point of the leaders in next round. If actually, he might even play MVL next round, depending on the pairings. So he could actually catch up with the leaders completely if he keeps up his streak. So Hikaru is right behind the leader, only 1 point back from MVL. So that's something to keep in mind. But let's keep looking. Who else is playing right now? Dun, dun, dun. We have Dretch. That's Conrad Holt, grandmaster. Not sure where Conrad is right now, actually, but he used to be in University of Dallas at Texas, or University Texas at Dallas, where Eric actually went to school as well. In this position here, probably the move g4. You got to get g4 in there. King f6. Yeah, I think here you just play king f6, and you just go take these with your king, and you leave your bishop to handle these pawns. He did it the other way around. Maybe this is fine. This is completely fine too. You leave the bishop watching these pawns here, and you get the king over there. So that's good as well. I think Conrad's going to be going down here. Got to play g7? No. Okay, now d4. Okay, maybe it doesn't matter. But you can play e2, get a queen, queen g3, take g2, and then take on g8. Yeah, nicely done by Vasily Korchmar, who does improve to 6 points. This is round 7 right now. Just looking at some of the games finishing up here. This one looks like it's over. Let's keep looking here. But yeah, we're about to move into round 8. That's 3 more rounds in the tournament. It's a 10-round event. And there's no threats here. Yeah, 95, but there's no immediate threat to be concerned about. King f8. Yeah, black just doesn't have threats here. So take that queen, then rook takes d3. King d4, queen d6. Yeah, the rook actually just defends f2. Although, I have to say, it's probably unnecessary to do what he did. Rook takes d3. Queen f4? Yeah, probably unnecessary to do what he did. I think just queen takes on f5 check and rook d3 was a lot simpler. Are they playing 3-0? It's a good question. They're playing 3 minutes plus 2 second increment. Bishop h5 and black's in serious trouble. That knight is just trapped. Yep, that's game over here. Nice game from David Klein from the Netherlands. And there's only a few games left in this round. Let's just take a look at what they are. Here's an interesting one. Rook g5. He's going for mate, but with the queen giving checks, I don't think there's going to be any way to do this. Don't think there's going to be any way to arrange a checkmate here. Queen f2 was mate. Oliver, I don't know what you're talking about, but there was no mate miss in that game. Maybe what you're thinking of is that when white played rook takes d3, you were trying to play queen takes f2 mate in order to give checkmate, but rook takes d3 was with check, so maybe that's why. But this looks like a draw here. Queen c7, yeah, this does look like a draw. Hard to do anything about this. Yeah. Check, 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 check. Knight d6 played, so finally the knight moves, but then in positions like this, actually, all you have to do is sacrifice your queen for the rook. That's really all you need to do. So if you can trade queen for rook, then you take that pawn at the end. I think that might be the easiest way to try to win. Queen h5 check, for example, here. Oh, there we go. Queen d5, and now just take that. Take that, and then king takes h6. If you want to draw, I have no idea if he thinks that he could still win here, but this is a pretty good attempt. Ooh, why didn't he just play king takes? Could have played king takes h6 there. Oh well. If rook check, there's king takes pawn. Knight f6 check, king takes h6 there. Don't know what's going on. Queen g7 check was stalemate. Was it? I always thought that the knight would have to take on g7. And then the king would have h8. But maybe there was a place where the pawn had to take. I didn't see. Okay, finally he took that rook. There we go. I think that was the last game of the round. And that means we're getting set for round 8. Let me bring the standings up so you guys can see. MVL there, perfect score, 7 out of 7. And I have a feeling that he's going to be playing someone the likes of Nakamura. He just beat Firouzja with the white pieces. We saw that game, very nice game. But a lot of people chasing was 6 points out of 7. A lot of very strong players there in that group. So we'll get right into the games. But those are the standings as we know them right now. And it is Hikaru against MVL. Let's just take a quick peek at that opening. It was a Grunfeld. MVL is known for that. And what line did Hikaru go for? Bishop g5, which, if I recall, there was a speed chess championship match. Was it Naka? I can't remember if it was Naka. I think it was Nakamura. but he kept playing this bishop g5 line. Kept playing this bishop g5 line. So I think this is actually something that both of these players are decently familiar with. e5. Now you might be saying, hey, wait a minute, why would black ever block his bishop in like that? Well, the idea is knight e8 and knight to d6. Yep, and there we go. And you want to put that knight on d6, blockade, maybe later look for the move like f5, b5. Those are your natural breaks. White is probably going to push this a pawn up the board if he can, and maybe he'll also consider the break f4. But the protected pass pawn on d5 does give white that long-term edge. But in terms of, for Grunfeld standards, this is a pretty reasonable position. But Naka knows he needs to win here. He's got to catch up to MVL. Got to catch up to him. f4 here? No, f4, e4. Maybe that works actually. You don't drop the c pawn because you do make this trade first. Once again, just want to shout out the names that you can probably see on your screen there. Some of the featured channels here on the stream. Some of the friends and partners of the channel that we definitely encourage you guys to follow and tune into. They are streaming the Titled Tuesday as we speak. Probably see a move like rook c3, rook over to g3. There we go. Yeah. That is Eric. He's still streaming on the Chess.com channel. He's still going strong. I haven't got a chance to catch any of his games, so I have no idea how he's doing. We got Lawrence Trent streaming at Trentosk on Twitch, as well as IGM Gadakamsky. That is the username, Twitch username, Twitch channel for Grandmaster Gadakamsky, who is also here. And the Lucas Mito streaming in Portuguese. So again, just some more options, more channels that are playing right now in the Title Tuesday, and definitely encourage you guys to check them out and give them a follow. Is that right, Greg? I haven't looked, but I haven't seen his games near the top, so I could have assumed that was the case. In this position right here, what we're going to see is either knight f1 or knight e2. Knight e2 kicks the queen out, which is nice, but I have to say MVL is just doing fantastic here. In terms of this position, it's only going to get better for Naka in the long term. So that's if he plays, if he gets the queens traded off, and then he has time to really maneuver all his pieces, try to improve his position. But for right now, White's pawn is blockaded. That bishop looks pretty bad on a2. Black's just got all the pressure on the g file, and I don't see how White actually wins this. Which is of course the goal going in, but I don't think Naka will be happy with this position. In any case, knight e2 was the way that you kick the queen out. And like I was saying, if we can just get a queen trade here from Naka's perspective, or maybe trade a few pieces, things start to look up. But is bishop d1 a move here? Maybe that's reaching a little bit. Bishop d1 is that like a really strange move. I'm trying to get my bishop into the game somehow. So this was what I wanted to do. Bishop d1 takes, queen e3, and then rook takes h2, and that. And if queen h4, you got this hanging. This is just what I'm thinking here. I was just trying to get my bishop into the game. So we'll see what he did here, but I kind of like that actually. Thought that was interesting. Bishop d1, and then the idea, or my idea, was that maybe if the knight moved, we could try to play like a bishop f3, but maybe that one didn't work. In any case, queen takes on h4 is, rook takes or queen takes on h4 is always a very, very serious threat. One thing he's planning with knight f7 is knight h6, rook h4, and knight g4 check. So knight h3, for example, there's rook takes, and then knight check, and you win the queen. That's why Naka played queen e1, and this is where you really start to, I feel like things are very close to working for MVL here. Very, very close to working. Ooh, you can almost feel the tactical gears are turning. because very soon what's going to happen is black is going to play probably a move like e3 with, you know, the knight coming in. I think this is about to get pretty nasty. Yeah, I think MVL's... I want to say he's about to win, but at the same time, guys, knight g5 is coming, which shuts down the entire operation on the g file and is incredibly annoying to deal with. And this bishop can also reroute finally on some open life here. So Naka, he's playing this really quickly, which is always so impressive to me, how Naka could play so quick. But man, why didn't he play knight g5? Oh man, am I missing something here? I thought he should have played knight g5 check and got that move in, but he didn't. And now at least black has broken through. He's down a piece, but the breakthrough has happened. Oof. Oof. Oh, that is painful. That is painful. And MVL played it instantly. He knew that tactic. That is a puzzle rush right there. Yeah, that is a nice finish by MVL over Nakamura. But I was going to say here, instead of bishop b1, if we play knight there, was I missing something here in terms of that? Because if the king moves, then I thought we play this now, and this is much better because there's no breakthrough here. So it makes me think that he was maybe concerned about this. He was concerned about something here, maybe f4, queen e4, I'm not sure. Knight f2, knight d3, but maybe you can sacrifice it back. Yeah, he clearly didn't like this, and you know, I see what he means. It's not very nice to look at. But knight f2 followed by rook g3. It's the kind of thing where, you know, if you break through here, there's so much firepower down the g file that this is a crushing attack. And what a nice game from MVL, who moves to 8 out of 8 and takes down Hikaru, that's now his second loss in the tournament. So Hikaru suffers a setback here. And what do we have here? Rook f7. This looks like Firouzja taking care of business against Andrew Tang, and that's right, he does win. So Tang suffers a defeat here to Firouzja, who moves to 7 points out of 8. That's a very high-profile match right there. This round has been full of very, very high-rated matchups. Let's take a look at Gadakamsky. I was just mentioning that his stream link was featured on the channel. I think rook f6 can be played here. I think rook f6 is a good move. Okay, rook g4, just handle. Gada is an endgame. I mean, this is where he thrives. In the endgame here, he's up a pawn. He's got 2 passed pawns, and b5 is not even a move. King there, king f5 he wants. And are we going to see rook d4? So this is Gadakamsky here. Rook g3, king g6. Got to be played. King b5. Rook d6. And now I think we play e4. Get that pawn going and try to take on b6 here. Is he messed this up? So rook g1. King g6. And how do you make progress? That's the question. Takes, and then rook f5, and I think that this should be a draw. I think. So he's just going to be waiting here. Meanwhile, rook b2 is going to be the move. Rook takes here, rook b5, rook there, and then I think you bring the king out. I think that this is probably still a draw. And this is actually just a nice touch to hit the pawn. So, ooh, I don't know if I would have done that. I mean, to me, it's like this move is way more logical because you don't allow rook e5. I have to go rook d5 and the king gets closer. So I have to say I don't understand king f7 one bit. That doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's a mistake, actually. Because basically, the king could just be one file closer here. And now what's going to happen is... yeah, I think this might be losing. The king is too far. I think the king might be too far. So king there, a7, and then 1, 2, 3. The rook has to move. Can't tell if it's just in time or not. It's on the verge, but allowing this is completely unnecessary, especially with the pawn on a6. No, I think this is a big miss by Gawain Jones. I think he's losing. I think he's got to be losing this. It's always so tricky. Because at the very least, my point is that he could have been one file closer, and then we wouldn't even be having this discussion. It would just be a draw. So what he wants to do is give a check, king d7, and now I think he's actually back to drawn. Yeah, I got a little excited there. I think he's got it drawn. Now, what I wanted to mention is just going back here. Okay, so this is what I wanted to play. a7. So this is what we had to calculate here, here. Now, here, here, here. And you play king b7. And if I go here, you give me check. And if you go rook here, then I go here. And I just run like this. I think that was just winning. Unless I'm missing something. I think that's winning. It's just it's the old expression. The king is cut off too far away from the other king. I think that's too many files. Because you have time to get all the way around. You just had to play king a8 and a7. But no, what he went for is not correct. Because now the pawn is not all the way up the board. No, so this doesn't look right. Anyways, yeah, that was just going through that endgame there. I was trying to understand why that was the case. All right, what are we looking at here? Eric is playing with the black pieces against well played 2015. And this just looks like a draw. In fact, I think if white tries to play for a win, he might even lose. Because he's going to get his queen forked or something. Why do you think he's got that queen all the way down here, guys? It's because he's completely scared to have the queen anywhere nearby because the knight is going to like fork it. So if I was white, I would take the draw here because I would be really concerned about losing this position, in all honesty. I don't think there's any point in playing this position on as white. I think black's got a really comfortable draw. Like, he could just be taking this rook on c7 at any point. But it's really just hard to imagine at any point that that you could break through here with the white pieces. Knight c6, rook a7 maybe. But yeah, this is like the optimal setup right here. Once you get this, I don't know what Eric's doing, by the way, because I mean, like, king b6 makes way more sense to me than going to the back. It's like he's what's the UFC term? He's pulling guard. That's what it looks like he's doing. He's pulling guard. He's like inviting the guy to come in and grapple with him on the ground. But this looks very unnecessary. I don't know why we're in this position. It's okay. Maybe it's just no big deal. Knight b7 and you don't get in trouble. I'm not sure, but I have no idea what this is. Seems like Eric took quite a few steps back from d4. And now I would be... Ooh, this is nice. That's very nice. Now he's fine again. Ooh, okay. That's good. He's fine now, but that was a little concerning there for a sec. Once the rook's on d6, now the reason I'm saying he's fine is all he has to do is move the king. But who knows? Maybe Eric was playing for a win there. Why not trade the queen for the rook? Well, white's trying to win. I think you should trade the queen for a rook and just have a draw. But, ooh, that looked really scary what Eric just did there. Yeah, this is really scary. Because there, king a7. Yeah, all of a sudden he's got to change his king b6 now. This does not look good. Okay, he's coordinating these guys again. But this does not look good. Here, here, and then there. Wins material, so he's got to go there. There's rook d6 in the position. Okay, I think he's fine again because he's got knight f6. But man, Eric is trying to give some heart attacks. Trying to give some heart attacks to everyone out there. The good people of Twitch. This, oh man, this is very nerve-wracking. I picked the right game to watch because this is probably there we go. Probably the last game of the round, and indeed it was. Indeed it was. Most confusing commenting ever. What's confusing about it, Trio Leo? I would love to know. Is the position confusing? Am I confusing? How am I confusing you, sweet child? Explain. Here are the standings. We're in round 9, and MVL had an extremely, extremely nice game for 8 out of 8. He beat Nakamura with the black pieces with a queen sacrifice, and he's maintaining his perfect score. Is he going to go for 10 out of 10? That's what I want to know. He's being chased right now by a lot of people at 6.5, but Firouzja still has 7 out of 8, although they have played each other. So let's get into this round and see what MVL can do. Take a quick peek at the opening. Looks like a nice opening for MVL here. Seems like easy play. I think he's going to play probably bishop g5 here. Bishop g5 looks like a good move. Queen g3 also reasonable, but I don't think there's any need to trade the queens. Bishop g5 looks like a nice one. The position and who is winning changing literally every move. I don't think that was the case actually. Maybe f4 here, f4, f5. Yeah, looks like a nice one from MVL. In that last game of Eric's, I don't think the evaluation was changing that much. I was saying that the evaluation maybe was changing in terms of whether or not Eric would be either losing or drawing. But Eric was never playing for a win. So you're looking at a position where there's one clear evaluation, which is probably a draw. And it just looked like the way that the game was being played was slowly getting closer to, you know, oh, that doesn't look so good. Maybe actually there's chances to win for white. But you have to understand when white has a queen against a rook and a knight, it's actually a pretty simple thing to understand. It's just a draw, but maybe white can win. So the evaluation, or what I'm saying, is based on the player's moves. And if they're making moves that look like mistakes, all of a sudden I might say, wow, white's actually closer to winning than before. It's not so much a draw anymore. Or if the players just make the same old moves, then you'll probably hear me say, yeah, it's just a draw. Just a draw. But I agree. When people are making blunders, or they're making what I think to be blunders, it can get confusing because I'm just like, you know, oh, now it's winning, now it's back to a draw. But I think that you kind of have to do commentary in that style, or else you miss all the potential blunders that people are making. Because if I just say, oh, the position's a draw, and the people blunder 10 times, and then the game ends up in a draw, well, I guess you could say there was no need to complicate it. But I think, you know, sort of following along the players, the ups and the downs, gets you really into the game, because that's exactly how the players are experiencing it. So that's at least my approach to commentary. Yes, if anything is confusing, it should be my hair. Hopefully not the chess. The hair, being confused by the hair is a very acceptable stance. If I'm MVL here, by the way, I'm not in love with my position. This pawn is well defended with bishop g6, and FM Ghost of Greenville from India seems to be doing very well for himself here. Knight d5, he's got this nice knight bouncing around here. It seems like he's done quite well on the queen side. He's got the rooks on great open files, and I don't believe the pressure on f7 just yet. You know, black can bring the king to e7. I kind of like black's position. Is it possible to reject a GM title and remain an IM? Yes. You do not have to ever become a GM if you don't want to. And I assume that that's what all the chat members have done. You guys were all offered the GM title and you said, you know, it's okay. It's okay. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need that GM title. I'm better than that. So I understand. I understand. You guys have all rejected your GM titles. King F2. If knight D4 he wants to take. I liked black's position a little bit better before, I have to say. I did like it better before. He's playing this because he wants to play G4, and after trading, he wants to play king to E3, get the pawns going. So now I think takes king E3. Now MVL's position looks a lot better than it did before. This is a huge improvement. Now this bishop does not look great. This guy looks very good. You've got maybe D4 coming. He's going to try to trade rooks, and now this pawn on A5 on a dark square, these pawns on light squares, it actually starts to all look pretty good for MVL. H4, G4, and H5 is a way to target the F pawn as well, just down the line here. H4, G4, probably start with G4 actually to prevent, actually it doesn't really prevent H5, but I think I would naturally start with G4. C4 is another move you might want to follow up with here. You got to be careful of rook D8 takes D3, but sometimes if you can get this, then that would be good. As black, I think you might have to play that. Okay, after H4, is he going to play H5? That's what we're wondering. He plays this move so that after H5 he can take. That's very nice. Now he gets H4 and H5. Very good stuff from MVL here. Okay, so now this pawn is a target in the sense that it can't be protected by a very nice square like bishop on G6. So I think MVL is making progress here, although what he's done is he's protected this pawn so that rook check does not threaten it. And now he's going for C4. If B4, he just plays C5 and white's winning. If you take, he wants to take with the bishop and hit that pawn on A6. And if you go passive defense, all of a sudden the rook swings around. And look who's not playing the game, the bishop on H7. The bishop on H7. King C6. This looks like a very nice game so far by MVL here. Quite impressive. So the question is, do we go D4? Yes, he does. So we're going to see takes here, I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, D5. Takes back, and we're going to see probably rook E1, not rook E1, maybe rook E2, rook B2, rook B6. That's what Ghost of Greenville probably wants to do. Not sure if that's the most accurate move actually, because you can't play rook B1. I think it's possible he might have just forgotten that. I'm not sure, unless he's planning to go over here and play G5. But you do have to be careful of this. You know, allowing bishop E4 and bishop D5. It's unnecessary. Okay, so yeah, this is what I mean when I think he probably meant to play rook E2. Played rook E1 a little fast and couldn't get to that square. So one thing is if you play rook here, bishop there, rook B6, and take this, you could try to go for this position and then play king D3. So this is one way to do it for MVL. He decides to go like this, and I think he's just going for a much more controlled approach. Now, if king C5, rook C7, that's the idea. And believe me, I think that he was definitely calculating some line where he brought his king in and like took these pawns with the rook, but completely unnecessary. Okay, so now we'll see this line, I think. Bishop E4, rook B6, and maybe bishop B7 he'll play, rather than bishop D5, which does lose the pawn, and then rook B4. So I think he might actually end up playing bishop B7, and then potentially king C5. King B4, king C5 can be played. This is a really strategic positional game. Very nice, very nice. We'll see if MVL can finish this off for a win. That would put him on 9 out of 9. And believe me, we have not seen that many perfect scores in Title Tuesday. So this would be pretty incredible. Oh, takes and king b4. Or sorry, excuse me, bishop e2 because he doesn't want bishop f3. Okay, so now the king gets to c5. This king looks stuck to that pawn because of bishop takes a6. And once the king gets here, it's just how do you stop this from happening? Here, 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 and king c7. That's what he's going to do. I think that's what he's going to do. And the question is, if you move the bishop and allow bishop f3, for example, how is this? Is this good or not? I don't know. That's a big risk. You lose a lot of pawns and the bishop can maybe come to f3. Like this, takes bishop c6, and then bishop e2. MVL is calculating that right now. He only has 10 seconds. He's gone for it. Oh, bishop c8 is a real passive move. That's a very surprising move. Although MVL was going to play d5 anyway after bishop f3. So I think MVL had calculated that out nicely, but still seemed more normal. Yeah, we've had some perfect scores. I've actually been a commentator for at least one of the perfect scores, maybe even more. But bishop a6, he's going to go for it. Bishop takes. But they're still pretty rare. They're still fairly rare. Ooh, f6 I don't like. You never give two pass pawns. Now this should be lost. Now this should be lost. So how do we actually do it? Bishop takes h5. So he's trying to leave the king on a7 and sack the bishop here. But I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. Check and bishop there. And then he wants to play bishop f7. Oh, guess there was no way to even push that. Well, now they'll just draw here. I guess there was no way to do that. He leaves the bishop covering e8, and surprising to me, but I guess there was no way to actually push that for a win. Game drawn. There it is. No perfect score in December for MVL. I don't think he'll be too upset because he's still in fantastic position to win first place in this event and take home the cash. I don't think he'll be too upset. But, you know, when you have the perfect score after this many rounds, I don't think there's anyone who could honestly say, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it. It's like, no, you're probably thinking about it, trying to get that perfect score. But, yeah, MVL's a class player. I don't think he cares too much about these, you know, small things. Probably if I had like 8 or 9 points, I would be thinking more about like a perfect score or something, which is really bad. But not MVL. Not MVL. Anybody on 7.5? I'll bring up the standings just after all the games in this round are over. This is the last one. So we're just going to stick with this game and then look at the updated standings. I think this is just a draw here, and there it is. So yeah, let's take a look at the standings, and here they are. A lot of people on 7.5, not a lot, but a fair few for this far down in the tournament. We're going into the last round right now. MVL 8.5 out of 9, so no more perfect score potential, but all he needs is a draw to secure first place in the tournament. All he needs is a draw to secure first place. We'll get into the games in just a sec, but people chasing for second place, we got Gadim Bailey from Azerbaijan, from Ukraine, Mykola Bortnik, Kenan Gareyev, also from Azerbaijan, and TGAK Tiger looks like from Poland. Maybe that's Indonesia. I very often mess those up. They're opposites, but I think, is that one Poland? Someone can help me out maybe. But yeah, those are the standings. Let's get into the games. Who is MVL playing? He's playing Bortnik. And MVL is black. And honestly, looks like he has a great position here. I would play a6. Actually, no, I wouldn't play a6 because bishop f4 just wins on the spot. So I'm a terrible player, and don't listen to me. That's Indonesia? Yeah. I knew I'd get one wrong one of these days. Knew I'd get one wrong. Got him backwards. So yeah, FIDE Master from Indonesia doing very well. Clearly doing very well. King f7. Bishop d7. Bishop e7 is what he wants. a6 is a move I'm like desperate to play to stop this, but you know, knight there, queen takes d5, knight c7 is on the cards. Bishop e3, he might want to play rook d1, a6, there we go. That's a move I've been wanting to play for a while. And yeah, just bishop e7. White might want to set something up with bishop on c5. And we're in the last round here of the Title Tuesday, guys. This is it. We're taking a look at the tournament leader, MVL. He's playing black here. All he needs is a draw to secure. Mikola Bortnik, though, he understands that, of course, if he wins, he ties for first. So I'm not sure, you know, how willing he is to just take a draw. I'm not sure if he wants to play on. MVL is about to finish manually castling with king g8. Bishop f6 and take back on e5. Knight b4, knight b6. Maybe you mean knight a4, knight b6 with a nice fork there. Unfortunately, knight a4, though, I can't just take that. So it is a very hard square to get to. There, baked boom. It's a nice thought, though. Rook h8. Okay, so I'm just going to bounce around to some of the other games here. Naka is actually playing that player from Indonesia. No, not Indonesia. That's Monaco. Oh, is there something on the flag that's just too small? I can't even see. I tricked you guys. You were all wrong. Yeah, is that Indonesia or is that Poland? I tricked you guys. Everyone was like, yeah, it's Indonesia. Gotcha. It's Monaco. Takes knight d5 or rook d1 first. Yeah, gotcha, chat. You guys are so gullible. So gullible. Knight d5 looks pretty good. Knight b5 looks pretty good. Yeah, this looks like a pretty... Oof. I actually, by the way, guys, I thought Naka was white here. I didn't realize he was black because this guy is... he's really giving it to Naka here. And he just offered a draw to Naka in this position. Oh man, that's probably going to tilt Naka. A guy from FIDE Master from Monaco just... It looks like he's sort of outplaying Naka, and then he offers him a draw. I can imagine that's a real tilter. Oh man. Is he going to accept it? It looks like he's worse, so you might want to accept it, but no, Naka's Naka. Rook c8, baby. Let's go. Rook c8, baby. Let's go. c7, and there's just going to be knight takes d6 next, followed by rook takes, and a huge endgame advantage for white, I want to say. Maybe, I should rephrase that, sorry. Not like a huge endgame advantage, but certainly an endgame advantage. Okay, rook c6. Looks like it's going to be some sort of draw by perpetual. This does not look... Okay, he's going to play this, and he's going to check and come back to rook c1. Meanwhile, bring his king. So TJK Tiger seems like he's doing fine. But Naka, of course, he's going to play that on. Let's jump back to the MVL game, though. Take a look here. What developed since we looked at it last. We saw f4, queen f2, rook c8. And I think MVL is just honestly doing fantastic in this game. And he simplifies really nicely here. So even if like d6 happens, I think it's important just he's got that bishop d7 blockade. I think MVL is doing great here. He may even win this position, but maybe he'll offer a draw just to secure first place. But this looks like good stuff. Very good stuff from MVL. Just checked with Hikaru. He is tilted. I knew he would be. Yes, get a better position and offer a draw. Okay, here we go, guys. This is why I was waiting on this game. MVL offers a draw because he or maybe his opponent offered a draw. I didn't see, but the game was agreed drawn, which means MVL wins the title Tuesday, which is something I can announce officially. He wins the title Tuesday for December. A very dominant performance, 9 out of 10 points with no losses. Very, very nice performance by him. And let's keep taking a look here. Is Naka getting slowly outplayed from this position? Oh man, this guy is really dusting Naka here. Oh, he's not going to be happy. He's really not going to be happy here. Something like rook b7, a4, a5 takes b6, and rook b8, and you start to undermine the pawns there. It looks like. That's what it looks like to me. So, who do we have fighting for the next spots? Firouzja has 8 out of 10, so I think Firouzja drew his final round game. Mikola has 8 out of 10. He drew against MVL. So those guys are currently sitting in second place, but there's a few people with 7.5 points. The other game that we want to follow is this one, because the winner of this game will actually take second place. If anyone here gets 8.5 points, it's this game and Naka's game where somebody can take over second place with 8.5 out of 10. This looks really good for white here. Gad Bailey, I think, is just about to finish this one off. Yep, this looks crushing here. So Gad Bailey, I think, is going to jump to 8.5 points, which means he is... Yeah, which means he's going to be taking second place. Clear second, unless TJK Tiger beats Naka. If that happens, then we have a tie for second and third. So we got this game to keep an eye on, and we got Naka's game. But this game looks like a crush for white, so I'm calling that a win. And Naka's down a rook. Naka's down a rook here. Naka's down a rook, and I tell you, the tilt has got to be out of this world. There's no flagging, unfortunately, Greg the Square Peg, because of the time control 3+2. But I can just say that this guy pretty comprehensively outplayed Naka and then offered him a draw, which always feels really bad. That feels really bad. Yeah, the king's walking up, and so he does win, which means he moves to 8.5 points. Oh man. And the two queens here, this is crushing. So both games ended up decisive, which means that 8.5 points is now shared. So that actually gives us our top three. MVL should be first with 9 points. Bailey and TJK Tiger both won their games just now, moving to 8.5 out of 10. So they actually leapfrog Firouzja, Mikola Bortnik, Vasily Korchmar, all these names. There's still lots of games going in the round, so I'll try to just jump to a few of them before we go too much into the standings. But yeah, pretty impressive stuff. Pretty impressive stuff by MVL, who does take the official win in this title Tuesday. And Wesley So, queen takes c6. Yeah, Wesley looks like he's doing well here. He should win against Penguin and move to 8 points. But nobody can catch 8.5 points right now. Nobody can catch 8.5 points out of 10. So that's why I think these standings are more or less determined. B3 looks like a nice move. Or sorry, yeah, this is also nice because the knight is hanging. Yeah, very nice game by Wesley to finish off the tournament there. 8 points out of 10 for Wesley. Certainly not too shabby at all. Let's keep taking a look. I see Gadakamsky is still playing. He's trying to hold the door here. He's trying to hold the door. Rook takes f7 he wants. So king e3. Are they just going to draw here? No, certainly not. White's got to try to play for a win. Bring the king to b4. You're not going to get mated there even with a bishop there and a rook there. I don't think that there's an issue. Okay, maybe bishop d5. But yeah, again, white is trying to get the rook down here and sort of bring the rook to a7. But I don't think you're getting mated here. Don't think you're getting mated here. Yeah, bishop there. There's always a way out. King there. Can we take that? Ooh, we can actually take that. Rook c8, rook c7, rook a7. Probably king c3. bishop d5, rook c7, rook b3, king c2 actually. There it is. Gata he's struggling here, but with that rook a7 and some of these moves coming up next, I think he's just in serious trouble here. Yeah, I think he's in trouble. Bishop d6, and that should be game over. Unless I'm missing something here. Yep, that should be game over, guys. And it looks like Hrant Chessmood, who I believe is Hrant Melkumyan from Armenia, is going to win that game by resignation. There's a few games left in the tournament, so let's just follow the last three. Whoa, what a weird position here. Knight h3, maybe bishop g2. Not sure here. King g4. This is the last round of the tournament, guys, so we are about to know. We are about to know the final standings. King g4, and this he's going to play for a win, or he's going to try to play it on. He can definitely play it on with white, but probably it's okay. Because remember, if you play king here, I queen, you take, I queen the other pawn. So you have to be really careful not to play a move like king g2. So actually, I think black has a little fortress here, if I can say that. I think there is a little fortress going on. Yeah. So I think this is going to be the last game of the tournament. There's one more game going on at the same time, but this one is just about to wrap up as we watch it here. Takes, and draw. So this is officially the last game of the tournament. Let's stick with it here as we wrap up this December Title Tuesday. Ooh, hang on a sec. What's going on here? Knight there. King takes f2. Knight takes h1, and then knight g3. Rook takes. King there. Rook down. Oh, he totally messed up. He totally messed up. You can play knight f5. And king there, queen there pins. So, wow. What a blunder by Magsudlu from Iran, and Thop from Germany takes the win. And like I mentioned, those are the final standings. They're right there on your screen, guys. Those are the winners, the podium winners, first, second, third. MVL, like I mentioned, 9 out of 10 points with no losses. Extremely dominant performance. Gadambaili from Azerbaijan and TJK Tiger from Monaco. 8.5 apiece. Take second and third shared. But let me bring up the longer standings so you can see. There we go. You can see all the players there because we had a lot of players just shy of the podium finish, including Wesley So, Hrant Melkumyan, just a lot of like really strong players in this area here. As I go down the list a little bit, you can see Naka finishing down there at 25. I think Naka actually lost 3 games this tournament, which I don't think I've ever seen him lose that many in a Title Tuesday or just a tournament in general on Chess.com before. So that's quite a bit for him. 25th is lower than I've ever seen Naka finish, as he's often crushing and winning these tournaments. So yeah, all the way down there you can see Penguin, a lot of players. So extremely strong Title Tuesday for this month of December. This December, that's the last Title Tuesday for 2018. So, you know, come back in January, first Tuesday of the month. There will be another Title Tuesday event. Eric is still streaming right now. I didn't see his name on a quick little scroll there, and based on the fact that I didn't see his games all Title Tuesday, it sounds like it was a tough one for Eric, as well as a lot of players that was just riddled with upsets today. So send him some love, give him some company. We're going to go straight from this Chess.com channel right now, and we're going to host Eric over on the Chess Bra channel. So thanks for watching. Grandmaster Mon Hambleton here. I hope you guys had a good time. That was a really strong event, and it was a pleasure to be here hanging out with y'all, bringing you the action. But we're going to send you guys over to the Chess Bra channel right now. Go show him some love. I think he's going to keep streaming for a little bit. So go find Eric over on twitch.tv/Chess Chess Bra, and thanks everyone for watching here. Take care, everybody, and bye for now.